Welcome to Son Coaches Podcast, and as per usual, I'm joined the first of the week by the Executive Director of the Georgia Fired Football Coaches Association. Thanks for being on with me.
Glad to be back. Happy you got construction all taken care of, and we can get rocking and rolling back on our schedule.
The world headquarters have been set up. We have renovated the office. We've got new flooring. We've got throughout the house. We've got office painted. We have pictures on the wall. It actually looks like a studio now. So I'm excited. I hated to take the week off, but it was just better for all parties involved if we took the little break. And right here at Christmas, everybody has a lot going on as well. And we also made the trip up to Atlanta for Gwinnett for the recruiting fair. But we got 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about. Really, the main thing is going to be us discussing the semifinals and the matchups we have for the finals. So what we decided to do for those listening is Coach said it'd probably be best if we just went in order of who plays. And I'm going first because we've got low A, where we have Bowden versus Lincoln County. Classic matchup of traditional powerhouses. And, of course, Bowden has won the last 3 state championships in low A. They reached it to the finals by way of beating Clinch County, and Bowden got all over Early County in the Final Four. So they'll meet tomorrow, or, well, by the time you hear this, they would have already played. But they are the first to go, and should be a good game. Everybody said all year that the only team that they thought might have a chance to beat Bowden is Lincoln County, and that's because they can run the football. But they're going it's a tall task ahead. But hopefully Coach Hopkins and them can get together and Coach Finley and his guys, and if nothing else, it'll be a really good and entertaining game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great football game. I think just two very proud programs, very historically, those two programs in the state of Georgia, everybody knows Lincoln County and everybody knows Bowden. And again, the talent-rich area that, Carroll County and Carrollton kind of area, I guess if you don't like the big school of Carrollton, you just head on down the road to Bowden and be happy to get on the field there. But, that's a short, about 40-minute drive, for them, I guess without traffic maybe. But, they can head on down to the Dome and enjoy the festivities. It's a little bit farther of a ride for Lincoln County. But both teams are going to travel well, and I'm excited for that game. To me, I think Bowden might do it, for a 4th straight time. But I'm going to hopefully have a pick on that. Obviously this will release after they play, but I do think it's going to be a heck of a football game. It's a great way to kick off the 3 days there. And then obviously we move to our Creekside and Benedictine. And Creekside has been beating people to sleep. Just a relentless assault on everybody they've played. They've scored over 800 points this year. They're, I guess, cousins or brothers with Langston Hughes there. So I guess also they get to poke that chest out to them and be like, hey, we're playing in the Dome. What are y'all doing? Y'all already on to basketball and wrestling. So y'all enjoy that. Y'all can buy tickets to come watch us play. And heck, they probably leave about 20, 30 minutes before the game kicks off and get there. So, it is definitely a huge opportunity for Creekside. I know they were disappointed after losing to Marist last year, and part of them I think really wanted to have that opportunity at Marist. And I'll be honest with you, this Benedictine team has a chance to play spoiler a little bit. They are a very, very good football team. I'm very interested to see kind of the athleticism that takes place, on both sides and how they can kind of combat one another. But I do think that if Benedictine can't turn Creekside over, get a couple extra possessions, Creekside's going to end up, trying to break that damn scoreboard. So I'm going to be really excited to see, just how that game plan and what the how the game turns out, I think both coaches have done a great job with their rosters. I know that one's a private school and one's down there in Fairburn, and they don't really benefit from a lot of movements down there, but there's so much athleticism and skill down there in that part of the state. So I'm excited to see how this all plays out, but I think them already scoring 800 points this year is incredible. Their defense, I think, has 8 shutouts too. So uh, they might be the best team in the state. And no matter the classification, I know the Carrolltons, the Bufords, they get all the love a lot of times, but uh, Creekside's very, very good. So it should be a fun first day tomorrow, and looking forward to seeing how those two play out.
Absolutely. There's two good teams, two good coaching staffs. They're going to be that has the potential from a matchup standpoint and stylistically of being a really good football game. I think it's either going to be really close or Creekside wins by 1,000. I mean, I just don't think there's going to be any middle of the road. Then we go to 1AA. We've got Toombs County versus Worth County. Toombs is trying to go back to back. They've got athletes all over the field. They've got some of the best, one of the best coaching staffs, regardless of classification in the state. Coach Martin does a great job there. They just have an embarrassment of riches right now in Toombs County. Now Worth County's coming back to the state finals for the first time in 30 years, near 40 years, since Milt Miller won one in 89. So it's been quite some time, 35, 36 years. But Coach Hammond's done a great job there. He's been in a lot of great programs. He's an offensive guru. He knows that side of the ball extremely well. He's done a great job with that program. They got a running back in this year. I don't say they got him in this year, but they've had a running back emerge this year that came from elsewhere, but he does a good job of balancing the offense out, and they are extremely, extremely good on defense. And I think most people going into the year, if you ask most coaches in the classification, we would have told you that pre-season our guess would have been Toombs and Worth County. So this is another one that should be a great, great matchup.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think both teams, like I said, I really hope from a fan standpoint, we're able to get two very fun games, right? Or just great games across the board. Everybody's competitive, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping we just get some really good football games, and I think we have the potential with all these. The next one is that AA one with Hateville and Carver Columbus. And, just in my very offhand, kind of research on it, Hateville, their quarterback has thrown now for over 300 yards in the last 3 games. And I'm just going to be interested to see if they're able to continue doing that against the defending state champion, Carver. And that's just going to be interesting because that's, Carver's led by Jarvis Jones, former Georgia player, and I think it's just going to be so interesting stylistically of kind of what they want to do because Carver's got this freshman quarterback who's had a really good season. They've got 3 running backs that are all dudes. I think that you're now in a situation where this is going to be, all right, can Carver turn Hateville over and get them, behind the downs, behind the sticks a little bit. I really, really like both of these teams. From just from my own bias standpoint, boy, I enjoy it when people are slinging it a little bit. So I'm interested to see what Hateville's able to do, and looking forward to seeing a little bombs over Baghdad this week. So I know that one should be a good football game. And then our last one is the one that, again, was originally the last game, and then all the games and stuff happened, and that's going to be the Carrollton and Buford. Again, two bells of the ball. They know that that's a great, helmet game. Great brand names right there. You've got the highest paid coach in the state, and Joey King, who does an excellent job. And they're going to be rolling in here with the expectation to win state. And then you got, and I don't mean it as an knock, but then you got kind of boring old Buford coming in here that's about to run tall sweep at your ass until the cows come home, and then they're going to run play action. So I think that stylistically, again, it's different. But to beat Buford, you have to do something better than they do. You've got to be willing to be overly physical. You've got to be able to take advantage of things. And Carrollton beat Buford last year to knock them out of the playoffs. So I'm interested to see what they learn from that matchup, and if they're able to, potentially use their, God-given greatness that they do have over there in Buford to maybe give them something more than what they showed last year, and maybe what they've shown so far, in the playoffs, because they just want to drag Carrollton down in the mud and muck and get them to play a gritty football game. And I just, I don't know if Carrollton wants to do that, and they just haven't had to. So I'll be interested to see if they're able to make that happen, and if not, I think it's going to be a very one-sided game where Carrollton stretches its muscles and legs a little bit and definitely puts it on them. But it's rare you ever see Buford get, blown out. I don't think they'll get blown out. But again, if Carrollton's able to get some key stops and get them behind the chains, that play action game starts being ineffective. So I'm going to be interested to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, it could be. It's the Battle of the Titans. I mean, let's be honest. Two of the premier programs in the state, and you talk about coaches and players and everything else, and that Carrollton getting back to this game after graduating one of the highest recruited children to ever come out of the state of Georgia, and Juju, and it's just going to be a good game. As well as I think the Sandy Creek Jefferson game is going to be the next game up, the next day. First game up. We got the private schools. I'm sorry. Private schools, we've got Hebron versus Savannah Country Day, correct? Not Country Day. Savannah Calvary Day. Good Lord, Lamb. Calvary Day versus Hebron should be a really good game. Calvary's got athletes all over the field. They could play probably in any classification. Coach Cameron's done a great job there. And Hebron's just Hebron. They're there. They're going to be there year in and year out. And there's so many private schools in Savannah that I get them. You got Savannah Christian, Savannah Country Day, Calvary. Calvary is who is playing for the state championship against Hebron, and that should be a good matchup. And I'll let you discuss the Jefferson Sandy Creek game, because I think that's also going to be a great game.
Yeah, no, I think on that private school game, again, you've got two very, very good rosters. Hebron's got the better looking mascot. I mean, they got the mane and tail lion going for them, and I'll be interested to see Jonathan Guess is no longer there, but his impact on the program is still cooking well and alive. But yeah, so then after that one gets done, you have Sandy Creek and Jefferson. You have Sandy Creek as number one ranked team, but according to GPB, but Jefferson was the overall 1 seed coming into this with the formulas. To me, Sandy Creek's going to be the most complete team that Jefferson's played all year. They're able to run it at you. And again, they've got one of the best looking and best football players in the state. He's the Region 2 Player of the Year, running back Amari Latimer. He signed with West Virginia, I think. I want to say West Virginia or Wisconsin. I don't know why he has to go all the way up north. Maybe he likes cold weather. I don't know. But, he's rushed for over 4,800 yards in his career. and he's rushed for over 2,342 touchdowns this season. That is absurd. And their quarterback has thrown for over 2,000 yards and 23 touchdowns. So, yeah, they're going to be able to be pretty balanced. Jefferson has, this is one of Coach Nolan's best coaching jobs, in my personal opinion. I think that he's had to overcome a loss from their linebacker and running back, Max Brown, and they've really had a running back by committee at times back there. And they've had modest quarterback numbers, and to me, they play really good defense. They don't beat themselves. They don't put the ball on the ground. And again, it's, you say boring old Buford is kind of boring old Jefferson sometimes, but again, winning is not boring. And that's just what they're doing. They're able to make people kind of get down in the mud with them and play their games. And, I think that in order for Jefferson to win this, they're going to need something out of the quarterback. They're going to need their quarterback to make plays for them. They're going to need to, I know Nolan runs the play action curl flat concept like his life depended on it. And rightfully so, they run it to perfection all the time. But to me, you gotta find a way to give them something they haven't seen before, and Coach Mike Brown does a great job with that offensive line, and that's a very, very well coached Jefferson team that's going to be ready to gang tackle that running back as best they can. But he looks like a dang golden gazelle out there, so have fun with that. But again, I expect a very good football game. I expect one that come down in the fourth quarter to who can get a stop, and maybe create an extra possession for your team. And to me, that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, when you have two teams that are as well coached as they are and as talented as they are, it's going to come down to clock, turnovers, special teams. Look for somebody to make a special play on special teams, and somebody to make a play on just big plays. I mean, they're both big play capable, and like you said, if Jefferson can get them to slow down and play their game, again, I think that's a great matchup there. And that leaves the what you have so wonderfully termed is what could be the most awkward trophy presentation in the history of Georgia High School Association, when the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets roll in to play the Brotherhood, the Gainesville Red Elephants, for the final game of this season's high school football playoffs.
Yep, and again, I think I can't be certain, but I do feel as if I did game notes last week for the 5A semifinals for both games, Roswell and Thomas County Central, and Gainesville and Rome. I'm guessing that's the first time anybody down there in North Tallahassee and Thomas County decided to learn about the fire coaches, because Boyd, I think that number one, they don't understand satire, and that's fine. But they also just, I think, most of them really, they're not great supporters. They think I'm attacking them, just like Gainesville thinks I'm attacking them. So I might be public enemy number one for both of them, even though I think Gainesville should be thanking this organization for the assist and helping them get their players eligible. We're a humble organization, but we try to do Lord's work out here and hold people accountable. But also, I have yet to see Gainesville play. Gainesville, I've watched maybe 5 or 6 games this year. Past 2 weeks have been their best football overall. And it's without, they're playing complete football, losing Nigel Newkirk, potentially. I think he's done for this year, and hopefully has a speedy recovery on a non-contact injury. But, luckily for them, they got a cat that's ready to step up, and, he's a hell of a running back as well. Quarterback's playing well. But on the flip side of that, you have Thomas County Central, who, again, they're going to bring their jugs full of rocks and shit and just make the games impossible to watch for every, like, again, I understand home field advantage and I understand cheering for your team, but god dog, like, there's no way they like hearing that shit. I just, a little decorum would be nice. But, God forbid we leave our milk jugs at home, when we travel to the Great White North up here, I'm hoping and praying to God that the good folks at the Dome, confiscate some jugs before they get in there, but, cheer for your team loudly and, you can all be mad at me at one time or another, but you've got a dude at running back. You've got great coaching going on both sides of the ball, for both Gainesville and Thomas County Central. I think both staffs have done an excellent job. I think Christian Honeycutt's done a hell of a job with that offensive line. I think that, overall, you're seeing both teams kind of peak right now, which is really what you want to see. The thing that I might like more about Thomas County Central is the fact that they are a little bit older, and in all the right places. They got a lot of maturity, a lot of leadership, and they definitely kind of all seem to be rowing in that one direction towards towards that one goal. So it's going to be interesting to see just the matchup with the box players of Gainesville versus stopping the running game and forcing quarterback to throw to those two gazelles outside that they have at TCC. But one of the things that Thomasville did a really good job of against TCC was every time they handed off to two on the outside, they triggered that corner and chopped his ass down for a little bit. And I mean, that kid didn't like it. I wouldn't like it. Again, just gave them somebody to come down and set the edge pretty quick, but when you do that, you leave stuff open, and you got to be willing to take chances. But and I thought that Roswell had an excellent game plan offensively and defensively, and I don't think that I've seen anybody get up to the ball faster than Roswell. And they had TCC on their heels a little bit early, and that's why it's 21-21 at half. But it's hard to sustain that. Especially when you don't even have close to similar talent. Okay, Roswell's got really good talent. TCC has great talent, and it was evident in the second half. But hats off to Roswell. And on the flip side, Gainesville just played better offensively and defensively and special teams than it's that simple. They were they just had this renewed sense of togetherness. Really brought that brotherhood together. And I know the Gainesville people hate it when I refer to them as the brotherhood, Big Red Brotherhood. But hell, what do you want me to call them? Your coach called them a brotherhood. They're defending their brothers. I'm doing what your coach is asking me to do. Don't be so damn defensive all the time. That's just kind of my take on the game. What do you think, Coach?
I think it'll be a good one. Obviously, I'm pulling for Thomas County Central for a plethora of reasons, but I think it'll be a good game. Either way, they've done a good job of getting to where they are. Everybody that's playing this week, all the coaching staffs, all of the communities, all of the players, this is what you work towards, this is what you work for. And with that being said, I wanted to bring up an article I read today in the Louisiana State Championship game. Teams getting ready to kneel the ball. There's 35 seconds left. They're just going to run the clock out, so they take a knee. One of the offensive linemen is so excited that they've won the state championship as he's walking towards his own sideline. He takes his helmet off and throws it up in jubilation, only to turn around and see that a flag has been thrown because that is an unsportsmanlike penalty. It stops the clock and they're forced to punt. Still shouldn't be a problem. Just get the punt off and you're fine. Well, of course, the punt gets blocked. The other team sets up for the game-winning state championship field goal as time ticks out to win the state championship. That has got to be the worst way to lose a state championship.
No, that's pretty terrible. I feel for the kid because obviously he's going to wear that for the rest of his life. Um, but it's a really great learning opportunity for all these teams that are playing in the dome this week. Like, hey guys, check out this clips. Don't until that buzzer sounds, don't lose your poise. There's so many times where it's just one little thing, whether big or small, is the difference in winning and losing that. And you hate it for that kid, you hate it for that entire team, but good on uh good on the other team for being able to say, hey, we got to take advantage of this moment, block the punt, because at the end of the day, if they still get that punt off, it's a different story. So it's just about overcoming whatever the emotions are in the moment, and rock and rolling from there. But I think the biggest thing that has just been blowing up on my timeline, I was sent by 5 different coaches, all none of them are related or connected in any way. Yeah, I sent a list of potential kids that were and where they came from, and said it was the Gainesville kids. Okay, great. I personally I don't have the time nor the want to verify all of that, so I put it on there, and I gotta hand it to some of these big red faithful here. Okay, uh, they may be the most sensitive individuals I have ever come across when it comes to anything that is said, whether it's presented without a comment or opinion. I mean, they are the quickest. You could if, and I mean this uh, in all honesty, if Coach Niblett, accidentally ran over a dog, okay, and you were to find yourself critiquing him, I mean, hell, they're gonna find a way to blame the damn dog, and they're gonna find a way to blame well, everybody else has hit a dog. Again, it's nauseating at times what these folks will go to defend their coach, their team. And listen, I'm all for you being supportive of your team, but it's also exactly why I do it, to be honest with you, because I know the reaction I'm going to get from some of these folks, and it's just they make my day with their unreal, unhinged, and just foolish way about kind of speaking through all this and justifying XYZ. If the first thing that you say to anybody saying anything about recruiting is, yeah, but what about Buford and all these other teams? Right, you're not denying it. You're just trying to you're just saying that everybody else is doing it. Okay, maybe. But the issue that I have, and I think a lot of coaches have, is it's not that you get kids. Who gives a shit? We would all love to get kids. It's the fact, well, it's really 2 things. One, it is GHSA has rules, and we believe in, if everything's above board, hey, go right ahead, do it, man. Again, you want me to come do the home checks? Be happy to do it. I don't know if you want that, but you want to share your DMs you get on Twitter and the DMs you send to teenage boys, do it. I'd love to see it. The reality is there are rules that are broken time and time again, but we have a very, very weak enforcement. Unless you go down there after they deny a transfer and go in front of their executive board and say, hey, we really need this kid eligible because of XYZ, this is the situation, they still end up denying it, but hey, thanks for coming on down to Thomaston to do this. Yeah, no, if I did have to go down there for that meeting, I would never go to Thompson. So thank you for this opportunity, but it's ridiculous. So that's point 1. Point 2 is if you weren't so nauseatingly, they're here because, they want to get led to Christ by coach, and we aren't recruiting anybody. They just want to come and get the best coaching available, yada, yada, yada. Again, you don't see anybody else make that claim. And yet, it's constant. It's the, hey, if you build it, we will, they will come kind of bullshit, where I have no doubt that kids take a look at your facilities and say, hey, I want to go be a part of that. How do I do that? Well, I need to DM coaches, and those coaches can DM me and tell me what I need to do. Okay, well, that's breaking rules. There you go. So, again, uh, just own up to it. Like, yeah, kids come to us because they see what we put on social media. They want to be a part of it. They find a way to move in. They reach out to our AD and get everything cleared up. Great, go right ahead. But stop this. No, coach would never do that. He's this God-fearing Christian man. And here's the thing. I'm sure he is. I'm not denying his faith whatsoever. But to throw that as the reasoning for these kids moving in is arguably the most laughable concept, and y'all bought in, and I mean it when I say it. I need y'all to realize you're in a cult, right? I understand that it's hard to accept, but you are in a cult, right? And you've got to find a way to get, Josh's niblets out of your mind and move on. Okay, you got to realize there's a big wide world out there, and being part of that big red brotherhood cult ain't gonna be great. All right, I understand that he's a the good reverend, but y'all, he doesn't need help. But boy, y'all are always willing to lay on the line for him and make these accusations about, no, that kid's been at Gainesville the whole life. Again, if you want me to go list by list and put out there all the proof I have of these kids transferring, boy, I will gladly do it. I already did it once, and Joker already tried to delete the message, but as y'all have already seen, it's a bad idea. I got receipts. So realize that, yes, Deshaun Watson was going to go to East Hall. Everybody in this area knows that. Luckily for them, Georgia Varsity Sports then doesn't have the archives back updated as much, but that was a very well known thing. If you want, heck, call Michael Perry and ask him. Very simple. But I'm for my own humor, I pray Gainesville wins. I need that trophy exchange like I need air. I need it to happen. I need it because I can't imagine Tim Scott having to, congratulate Gainesville in any way, shape, or form. It's gonna make my day. Actually, it's probably the best early Christmas present I could ask for. So, that's my soapbox on that. I want the Big Red Brotherhood to know that I appreciate them. I look forward to getting my ring and my T-shirt and maybe an invite to the banquet as a presenter for an award for assisting them in their process. I know the good Reverend ain't gonna want to admit that he asked for help. But hey, it's what I'm here for. All right, it's what this organization's here for. But everybody else that's part of that cult, you'll need to pump the brakes. Because I have the ability to keep my anonymity, and I really could give two shits about your feelings of your team. And if you have, and this is very specific, but if you have paintings of Deshaun Watson in your Twitter bio and all over, again, your credibility's your judge of character, So have fun with that. Again, these knives cut deep, so be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting one way or the other. And another thing that's going to be interesting is the jobs. A lot of jobs came open last week, and while we took a week off, we have a list of ones to go over. But remember, if you're a coach gearing up for the job search, you already know your portfolio can make or break your next opportunity. At coachingportfolio.com, we help coaches at every level stand out with elite professional-grade portfolios, resumes, and interview prep tools. From ready-to-use templates to custom-built documents, we take the guesswork out of the process. Whether you're chasing your first job or your dream job, be prepared, be polished, and be unforgettable. Visit coachingportfolio.com and make your next move with confidence. Of course, I encourage everybody to check out the website if you're in the job market, and they provide awesome tools and get you right information. And speaking of get you right information, before we even go over the jobs that are open, Coach, I understand some people have reached out to you with their resumes for you to peruse them as well.
Yeah, and by all means, I'm more than happy to look at anything y'all send, and I'll give you my God's honest opinion on it. Take it for whatever you deem it to be worth. This just comes from years of experience of creating resumes for folks and refining and making things look pretty and make things attractive and help you stand out from a professional standpoint. One of the big things that I've seen in just from several of the ones that I've been sent is there is no kind of separation of all right, I need a teaching resume and I need a coaching resume. You need both of those. You need the one that you send to the head football coach and the one you send to the admin. And you can send them both to both of them. That way they can see how they interact. But that head football coach doesn't give two shits if you are teacher of the week or I was a star teacher for this student, right? That again, admin cares about that, department chairs care about that, so yeah, they need to see that. If you want to put additional accolades, on that coaching resume, sure, you can include some of that nonsense in there. But ultimately, I think making sure you have a plan when it comes to your resume and making sure you have very, very direct language. Again, depending upon the role that you're going after, avoid putting JV statistics or freshman or middle school statistics on there, just because, again, those are roles that you have been given by another person a lot of times. They trusted you to be the JV head coach, right? So that's a leadership. That is something that is like, hey, a part of my role as the wide receivers coach on the varsity. I was also this, I led our JV program as a head football coach to basically, make sure that the mission, vision, and goals of the program were being instilled, from the foundation all the way up. And, if you run the nutrition or if you are in charge of the weight room or the equipment room, if you put a bunch of I did this or I do this, I was this, avoid doing that, right? Like, the best thing I can tell you to do, nobody cares that, hey, I implemented or I assisted in or I helped. Again, that's all stuff that somebody else told you to do. How did you do those things? What were the things that led to the success of the how did you help the success of the program? If you were a part of the nutrition program, how? Were you in charge of the inventory, the ordering, the purchasing, maintaining, or were you making sandwiches? What were you doing to actually be a part of the nutrition program for the football team? Were you creating, the meal plans? What were you doing? If you were in the equipment room, were you in charge of inventory and ensuring that everybody had what they needed, and you checked it off, and you maintained that inventory list so everything was accounted for appropriately? There's just so many ways that you can go with that, but the waste is saying manage the equipment room. How did you manage the equipment room? How did you do it? That's the bullet point people want. That's the thing that'll stand out, not all these other things. Now, when it comes to your, references and things of that nature, again, the people you've worked for, head coaches, those are the ones that you definitely need to have on there. And then you can, again, I'm a big believer in trying to fit everything on one page as possible. But, there's definitely times where you fit things on 2 pages and that's being concise. That's being, because at the end of the day, somebody's going to look at the first job on there, the top half of your resume, and decide if they want to give you a call. So understand that there is a need to make sure all that looks sharp, clean, professional, and they're going to look and see, all right, does this guy have organization skills, professionalism, and things of that nature to be a good football coach? I'll figure out if he's knows the X's and O's and has walk around sense when I talk to him on the phone and when I interview him in person. But what's going to help me understand if this guy can fog up a mirror, right? If you have a bunch of bad editing all over the place, it doesn't matter how good of a football coach you are. And humble yourself sometimes and be like, hey, I'm not good at that stuff. That's fine. Like, there's a lot of folks that are much better football coaches than me, or I will ever be. They couldn't tell you how to open Microsoft Word, okay? And that's fine. That's something to even be embarrassed about. I get it. But I've been lucky enough to have extensive experience with it. So DM me, reach out to me. I'll be happy to take a look at whatever you need for me.
Well, with that being said, Coach, jobs that came open last year, I'm going to save the best one for last, let you talk about it since it's up in your neck of the woods, and it is hands down, not even close, the best job open, and that's Hart County. I'll let you discuss that after I go over these other openings that came open last week. We had Chapel Hill, which is in Douglas County. It is literally less than 5 miles from Douglas County High School, and you're not getting the same kids that go to Douglas County High School at Chapel Hill. And if advertisement over the past 3 or 4 years is any indication, it is very difficult for you to get help and assistance in there as they look for assistance every year. Morrow came open in Clayton County. Good luck with that. Gordon Central came open as Coach Gowan took the Lanier County job. Gordon Central's in a good part of the state, but they really don't care about football. They just don't. Greene County came open under unfortunate circumstances as allegations arose of their coach putting his hands on their players. They decided to go in a different direction when they got rid of Coach Banks. And I'd like to remind all administrators out there that backwards is, in fact, a direction. And I'm pretty sure that making the national news for all the wrong reasons is not something you'd like to do either. So there's that. Remember, when you go in to make a change, and you want to stay within whatever it is you decide or why you decide you want to change, that you keep those things in mind when you make the next decision. 2 other jobs that came open, both out of Carroll County, Villa Rica and Temple. Villa Rica is a tough job. I don't think it is the job that you need to take as your first head coaching job. You need to have a more seasoned person in there. You're going to be working for an ex-football coach who's the principal. He does a great job there, great leadership, keeps everything running like it's supposed to. So at least you'll be able to talk football with somebody that's been there, sat in that chair, and understands things that you're going to have to deal with. Same thing goes for Temple. Coach Rogers is the principal at Temple, and Jason Robinson's athletic director, 2 of the best guys in the business. Both schools have stellar facilities. They have turf, they have indoor, they have whatever. They don't have indoor yet, but they're getting it. They've got everything you need to be successful. And with the superintendent providing those things, they just expect you to be successful. I don't know who they're looking for or what they're looking for at either of those places, but both could be very good situations, I believe. And that leads up to the best job on the board. And it's not just the best job on the board this year. There's a reason that this job very rarely comes open. And there's a lot of guys at the college level that have recruited Georgia for years that they will tell you that not only is it the best job on the board this year, it's the best job in the state of Georgia, and that's Hart County. Hart County's football coach decided to go into administration. He's just going to stay on and work as the athletic director. Your principal's a great dude. He's not your typical, admin you've got these days that either didn't play or don't care anything about athletics. He's far from it. And they're doing their due diligence there. And I'm just going to let you talk more about the Hart County situation.
Yeah, it is consistently one of the better jobs. You're up there on the lake. You've got incredible support in the building and in the community. It's a one-school county. You're in Region 8 AAA with Elbert, Franklin, Hebron, Lumpkin, Stevens, and Union. Outside of the main and tail lines from Hebron, that's a super competitive region where, again, Elbert's always going to have, ups and downs there. Franklin County had a really great year this year, beat Hart County 30-0 at the last game of the year this year. Lumpkin's beaten Hart, I think, 3 years in a row. Stevens County is, again, that's a perennial 7-3, 8-2 kind of football team in Stevens County. Union County's on a rebuild, but they're young, and again, anytime you have to go up over Blood Mountain to play, that's going to be a tough place to play. But just on paper, Hart County should beat every one of these teams with athletes. They've got better athletes than every single one of those teams. Just walk in the hallway, great support, great everything. You're going to see I'd be shocked if they haven't already gotten 100 resumes from guys that are retired out of state, guys that are at currently good head jobs, winning at head jobs right now in the state, in Northeast Georgia, and South Georgia, and West Georgia, all over. Because the idea of being able to be on the lake, and really have the support you need in and around that building is it's envious. And to me, that's where it's so important for the principal to don't get enamored with a name, right? Like, again, it's not a knock on anybody who has had success. Oh, you've obviously had success. You are well deserving of any opportunity that comes. But Hart County needs somebody that understands Hart County. That might not be the person that you think it is. It might not be the person that you believe it. Why did they go and get a guy that doesn't have these accolades? That's fine. Again, that's fine. Is it the right culture fit? Is it the right guy that can bring in the right staff, that can do the right things, and get them to where I believe they should be? Because make no bones about it, I think Hart County, for the better part of the last 18 years have been one of the more, I say, underachieving, and I don't mean that as a negative to any of the coaches or anybody like that. I just think from a talent standpoint in Northeast Georgia, to where they've gotten postseason wise and things of that nature, that's where I find it to be a little underachieving, because they just turn on the huddle, turn on NFHS, watch the commercials 6 damn times, and watch how they run out, watch everything about them, and realize that, man, you ain't got those kids. A lot of places don't have those kids. They have good participation in middle school. They have good participation. They got great weight room. They've got everything you could ever want. Again, you are gonna have more support than probably outside of maybe 3 jobs off the top of my head in Northeast Georgia. So anything outside of 285, and up 85 north, I think Hart County is probably in the top 5 of community support, and it's one of those places the town shuts down on Fridays and goes and watches the team. Give them a reason to come and do it and continue to support you, and they'll start crafting that statue for you pretty quick. But my ask of Hart County is just exactly that. You're gonna fall in love with a lot of people who say, "Hey, Kirby, can you call them and put in a good word for me?" And that's all well and good. You can tell all your friends you talk to Kirby. That's great. But the reality is that person the best fit for Hart County, or are you gonna be hiring a new football coach in 4 years. Your hope should be you don't want to have to hire another football coach for 10 to 15 years. So let's see. Well, I'm interested to see some of the names that have come up are very interesting. I think it goes all sides of the spectrum there, where you have some really big names, successful coaches at successful jobs. And then you have some that have experience at Hart County or have relationships with a lot of people there at Hart County that understand kind of how that place works. So I'm going to be interested to see when those interviews start rolling in and where they go with it. But again, this job is one that came open. Corey did a great job. It was just, at some point the message gets watered down when the wins aren't stacking. So he gets to, but as you can see, it's a great place to be because he's not leaving Hart County. He's staying there and going into administration. How often do you see that? And they want him to do that. They're not trying to kick him out. That tells me everything I need to know about Hart County. So if you are one of those guys who are a coordinator at a place, I don't, reach out and see if that might be something that you can get. Just know you're going to be going up against a lot of very, very, very qualified head football coaches that have, rings on the resume. So, if you are able to get that as your first head coaching job, hang on to that thing and never leave is my advice. But hopefully this one doesn't stay open too long, just because I do think it's going to be one that the longer it stays open, the more I'm going to sit there and feel like they're just going to go with the biggest name they can to justify any move. And it's just, I want to see what's in the best interest of Hart County, because that when that brand is good, it makes the entire area just so much better. So, we'll see how it all squares away, and we're getting to the point now once these state title games get over, more jobs are going to pop and more jobs are going to come open, and we're just going to be in that cycle for a bit. So, from a map standpoint and my updates on X about it, yeah, I'll try to update that about once a week, because if I tried to do it as often as these jobs come open, I would never have any time to do anything else. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how all this rolls around. But again, send your resume if you want me to. Just DM me and I'll shoot you my email. Also want to give a shout out to Matthewson's Mini Helmets. They've been a good little sponsor for us this month, and he's a head football coach in Iowa, and he ends up, he's a head football coach in Princeville, so God love him. But he runs the triple option up there, and I know he gets more flack for running the triple option, but he's winning 8-9 games every year, so it's kind of hard to fire the guy. And what's he going to do? Fire himself? He's a damn principal. So I think give him a look on Twitter. They do a really great job of just again, they're little collectible type helmets for your high school. You can do those for your banquets. You can any design you want, any concepts you want, just shoot it to them, and heck, there's no minimum. So hit them up and tell them we sent you. But yeah, hopefully we have some great games this week, and hopefully we're able to just have the most awkward trophy presentation known to man. That's going to be my hope this week.
Coach, I'd like to make a couple of announcements myself as well. I'd like to remind everybody upcoming in the week before the Masters, the Lee Murray GACA golf tournament down at Little Okmulgee State Park in McRae, Georgia. We'd love to have all the coaches come down there and all the schools represented and make it the biggest one we've had so far. Get in touch with John Willoughby or myself if you need information regarding that. And I'd also like to share with everyone that on March the 14th, it's a Saturday, Sun Coaches Retreat will be occurring in the Atlanta area. We will have fellowship led by schools from 7A, 6A, all the way down to the privates. And we're doing things a little bit differently than some of the so-called clinics that we've gone to in the past. There won't be any college coaches there because we don't really need to know how you coach a 6'5" edge. We get it. We don't have those kind of kids. So we're going to get back to fellowship with one another and being led by young coaches. We're also going to have a young coach from each staff will be leading a fellowship session and doing that, and no vendors, just straight talking ball for a day. A one-day retreat. We're going to hang out, have a good time, and get it back the way it was supposed to be. And as Coach said, we've had a great week, 2 weeks, great season really leading up to the Dome this weekend and these state championships. Like to wish all of the teams safe travels and enjoy every part of the championship weekend. And be sure to join in on Thursday where I'll be talking with Coach Jared Zito, head coach at Southeast Bullock. And next week, Coach Ed and I will be back to discuss the state championships and see if he got his early Christmas wish. As always, thanks for tuning in. And remember, it's just satire.